Hello. I am going to go through a little routine of how I might practice my finger drills and see if you students like this concept. I like to work on unusual fingering combinations, like for instance, I might want to do RPG. I might write that a couple of times and then I'll switch it. And then I'll do FBL. So you can see on your machine, if you're doing that, you just alternate back and forth. And so once you get comfortable with those positions, you can then do RPG, FBL, RPG, FBL. Now if you want to throw something in, like on the left side of the keyboard, you might do the question stroke and just alternate that way. Or you might want to take the whole question bank and do the same thing. And then what you might want to do is do the STPH, RPG, and then the question bank FBL. So it kind of forces you to have to move keys and fingers around that may not be comfortable as you're doing some fingering practice, some fingering drills. And then you might want to, for instance, do the J with the FBL and then do the top one with the RPG. And it can kind of get kind of crazy that way when you're working on fingering drills and see how good you get at it. Another thing you can do is you could do the same thing on both sides of the keyboard. You could do KPR RPG, and then you could do the other way and switch it around that way so that your fingering positions are kind of mirroring each other on the same side of the keyboard, and it gets kind of tricky. Then if you want to, you can do the opposite on one side of the keyboard and then switch it up the other way. So it can get really crazy if you do, for instance, KPR on the left and then maybe FBL on the right, and then switch it and do it the other direction, TWH RPG. This will give you some very unusual feelings on your fingers as you're trying to practice, because they're doing things that they just hardly ever do when you're writing on the keyboard. But it builds dexterity, and it helps you, especially on the right side, with some of those combinations like the FB, the FN, the RN, the RM, the FBG, stuff like that. You can work on doing some combinations. So I'm going to do some like the left side with the RPG, the FBL. I'll do that a couple of times, and then I think I'm going to move over and I'm going to do the BLS and the PGT, and I'll do the same thing like that for a couple of times, kind of get used to it, maybe throw in some letters on the left. But what you want to do is you want to work on getting comfortable with those fingering positions, because it will help build your right hand for unusual strokes. Then you can do, like, the FX and the RMT. You can work on stuff like that. That's easy. Then you might want to do the RMS and then the FBGT. So now you're kind of alternating your pointy finger and pinky finger with your middle finger and your ring finger. And then you can do like RPGS, FBLT, and try something like that. These are just very uncomfortable fingering positions that are really good for practice. On the left side, you can do the same thing. You could do like, STW, and then SKP, STW, SKP. The S key being a single key, doesn't make that one too difficult. But then you could do like the KPR and the TWH and practice that way. Maybe throw in something on the other side of the keyboard just to give your other hand something to work on. Then you can do things like, maybe STK, STW, and then maybe come over here on the other side of the keyboard and do like maybe the FBL. So you've got STW, FBL. You can hit that stroke a couple of times until you get comfortable with it, and then switch it up to where you're doing it the other way, SKP, FBL. And then maybe alternate your right hand, doing a couple of finger drills like that, and then doing it the other way, where you do the STW with the FBL and the RPG. These are very uncomfortable. They're not fun. You can even move your right hand over to the other direction, further to the right, maybe do some combinations there. They're not comfortable, they're not fun at all, but they're good practice for you to work on unusual fingering combinations so that you can build dexterity and get comfortable with keys that, while you may not hit them a whole lot, you might hit them every now and then, and it's good to know where they're at. Depending on maybe some unusual word, you may need those combinations to where you want to get comfortable with them. You could do like RBGT and then FMS. That's kind of unusual feel to drop that in there. If you have your wide key, you could do something like the NTDD. NTD. Let me speak correctly. And then you could do the maybe I don't know, RNSZ, something like that. RNTD, FNS. These are just unusual fingering combinations. Use your imagination, but don't sit there and do, RP, FB. Add some other keys with it to where it forces that pinky to have to come into play. And it can be very difficult and very uncomfortable. The FBT is not a comfortable position. You may never write that stroke, but it builds finger strength in that pinky to learn how to get over to that letter T. Okay, same thing on the left side. You alternate your fingers up and down. Try to throw another unusual letter with it. SKPR is different. STWH, that's a very uncomfortable position, not fun at all. STPBH, that is not fun at all. Hard one to write, but good practice. And then SKPL, again, not fun, but might be necessary. STR, SKH, another one that's not comfortable. SKL, not so bad. So use your imagination when you're working on some of the fingering drills. And then I like to always write my alphabet and go down and do the alphabet. N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. I can't even write my alphabet. W, X, Y, Z. But you get the point. This is always good practice. I like to do that a lot when I'm warming up, is just write the alphabet, and then I also do it with my lowercase fingering combination so that I can get some good practice in there. I'll even do it with the alpha, with the asterisk key, etc., because I want to be comfortable with that. And the alphabet, writing it where it will stitch words together, like I work for NBC or I work for ABC, stuff like that. That is very crucial in your real-time writing. And then also, if you have a alphabet defined for finger spelling, you definitely want to practice on that. That comes in very handy when you're writing real time, when you might have an unusual name or word come up that you can quickly finger spell. It's makes your real time look better, and there's ways. I use the AFP LT for my uppercase letters, and then my A comma is my lowercase alphabet. So if I wanted to write Adams, if I was going to finger spell it, if it wasn't in my dictionary, I would do A F P L T for the upper letter A, and then D comma A comma M comma S comma. So that would actually finger spell in real time Adams, and the first letter would be the capital A and then lowercase DAMS. So things like that is always good practice to warm up on, to get comfortable with, so that when you're going along really quickly, you can quickly go in there and do ADAMS and quickly spell a person's name like Adams if you knew it wasn't going to come up. And then the nice thing about the software now is with some of the software programs out there, if you can finger spell it one time or sometimes two times, then you're going to have your auto brief or brief it program jump in there and give you a shortcut that will save you from having to finger spell it every single time. So definitely helps your real time. And then after I've done my alphabet, uppercase, lowercase, etc., I might go back to my fingering combinations again, drop in different letters, do things that are uncomfortable, stuff like that. It's not fun, but it forces your fingers to move in positions where you really want them to help you be able to write better, get to know where your keys are, get comfortable with where your keys are, and it can make it kind of fun. You can also alternate your combinations to where they're not comfortable on the left or right side of the keyboard. Like I said, do some unusual things that are strange. They're not fun, but as you continue to do this, it will build up your finger strength, and it will make you a better writer in the long run, because it helps you get those fingers in positions that, while they may not be comfortable now, they'll become comfortable. I know one of the big ones is the FN right now, and maybe the FB or the RPG, stuff like that. As a student, those aren't comfortable right now, but they'll become more comfortable the more you work on them and practice them, and it'll make you a better writer in the long run. FNT is another one that's very uncomfortable. FNS, things like this can help you make you write cleaner, and definitely improve your accuracy as you begin to build speed. So I hope that gave you some ideas on how I might practice with fingering drills to help me build my finger strength and to work on unusual fingering positions that I don't care for, but are a necessity to make me a better writer. So with that, I will close, and I hope that helped. Thanks.